A grandfather doesn't accidentally remove one grandchild from a Christmas table and leave only one name on the ornament. So who decided this beforehand, and why was everyone acting prepared?
My father grabbed my daughter's arm so hard that her chair scraped across the floor. That seat belongs to my real grandchild. The entire dining room went silent. Nobody moved. Nobody objected. Not even my mother. My 9-year-old daughter, Emma, just stood there clutching the edge of the table, her eyes searching for mine. Have you ever watched someone you love get humiliated while everyone else pretended it was normal? Because that's exactly what happened on Christmas Eve. Before we continue with this video, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for updates. My name is Sarah Mitchell. I'm 34 years old, and after nearly 3 years of avoiding family gatherings, I had finally agreed to come home for Christmas. My father, Richard, had promised things would be different. He said he wanted peace. He said he wanted our family together again. For the first hour, everything seemed perfect. The tree sparkled. Christmas music played softly. Everyone smiled. But then I started noticing things that didn't make sense. The missing name on an ornament. The nervous looks between my brother and father. The strange confidence in my father's voice. And when Emma looked at me for help, I didn't argue. I quietly reached for my phone. Because there was something nobody at that table knew. Something that was about to destroy Christmas dinner. My father expected a fight. The confusion on his face told me that immediately. Instead of yelling, I simply watched him. And that seemed to make him even more uncomfortable. Emma remained standing beside me, trying not to cry as Richard pointed toward a folding chair set up near the wall. The message was obvious. She wasn't welcome at the family table. Not really. The worst part? Nobody seemed surprised. My brother Ryan stared into his drink. His wife suddenly became fascinated with her napkin. My mother looked down at her plate, almost like they had rehearsed this moment. Emma became part of my life 7 years earlier. After fostering her for nearly 2 years, I officially adopted her. The day the adoption became final was one of the happiest days of my life. Most of my family celebrated with us. My father didn't. He smiled for photos. He bought gifts. But every now and then he would make comments about bloodlines, family names, and real descendants. Comments subtle enough to deny, cruel enough to remember. Earlier that evening, I noticed only one grandchild's name hanging on a personalized Christmas ornament. Ryan's son, Caleb, not Emma. Now I understood why. Then my father looked directly at Emma and said something that made my stomach drop. Something that proved this humiliation had been planned long before dinner even started. "What did you expect?" my father said.
His voice was calm. Too calm.
"We discussed this weeks ago." Weeks ago. The words hit me like a punch. This wasn't an emotional outburst. This wasn't a mistake. This was a decision. A planned one. Emma froze beside me. She didn't fully understand what was happening, but she understood enough to know she was being singled out. My father straightened his shoulders and looked around the table. "Family traditions matter," he announced. "Certain seats belong to direct descendants." Then he pointed toward Caleb's chair. His real grandson. The child who apparently deserved a place at the table. And then he pointed Emma toward the folding chair in the corner.
Did he really say they discussed this weeks ago? And everyone just agreed to move Emma to the folding chair on purpose?
The humiliation wasn't accidental. It was a performance. And suddenly, everything clicked. The nervous looks. The missing ornament. The uncomfortable silence. Everyone had known something was coming. Maybe not exactly this, but something. I slowly unlocked my phone. The moment I did, my brother Ryan's expression changed. The smile disappeared from his face. My father noticed too. For the first time all evening, he looked uncertain. Because I wasn't texting someone. I wasn't recording a video. I was opening a file. A file connected to something they both hoped would stay buried forever. I placed my phone in the center of the table. Then I looked at everyone and said, "If we're talking about who's real family tonight, I think everyone deserves to hear the whole truth." The room instantly went silent. Nobody spoke. Not my mother. Not Ryan. Not even my father. For the first time that night, Richard Mitchell looked nervous. I tapped the screen of my phone and turned it so everyone could see. Do you remember Grandma Evelyn's inheritance? I asked. The question immediately changed the atmosphere. Years earlier, after my grandmother passed away, there had been quiet rumors about missing money. Nothing dramatic. Just enough inconsistencies to raise questions. My father had blamed paperwork mistakes, bank confusion, accounting errors. Eventually, everyone stopped asking.
Except me.
After too many strange incidents and too many convenient explanations, I hired an investigator. What he found explained everything. I opened the first document. Bank transfers. Thousands of dollars. Then another. Account records connected to Ryan. Then another. Authorization forms. My father's authorization forms. The color drained from Ryan's face. Suddenly his years of special treatment made sense. The expensive vacations. The financial help. The constant favoritism. This was never about bloodlines. It was about protecting secrets. Protecting the son, who benefited from them. Around the table, family members began connecting years of suspicious behavior. Whispers started. Questions followed. Ryan tried interrupting. My father demanded we stop discussing it. The same man who had humiliated a child minutes earlier now looked desperate. Then I opened the final document. The one containing a signature nobody could explain away. And the second everyone saw it, everything collapsed. The signature at the bottom of the document belonged to my father. There was no denying it. No misunderstanding. No missing context. Years earlier, Richard had personally approved the transfer of money from my grandmother's estate into accounts connected to Ryan. The inheritance questions, the favoritism, the endless talk about real family. It had all been a distraction. He wasn't protecting family values. He was protecting family secrets. For several seconds, nobody spoke. Then my mother quietly pushed her chair back. What you've done is unforgivable, she said. Ryan tried defending himself, but the document spoke louder than he could. Across the table, relatives who had spent years accepting my father's version of events began asking questions he couldn't answer. I looked down at Emma. She was still sitting beside me, trying to understand everything. So I pulled her onto my lap and said the only thing that mattered. You are my daughter. You belong wherever I am. The tears she'd been holding back finally disappeared behind a smile. In the weeks that followed, attorneys became involved, family relationships changed, and my father lost much of the respect he'd spent decades building. But that night, none of that mattered. Emma and I left together, stopped for hot chocolate on the drive home, and celebrated Christmas with people who truly loved us. For the first time in years, I felt at peace. Not because I had won, because I finally stopped letting anyone define my family except me.
After something like this, you start wondering how many families quietly decide who belongs at the table before anyone even sits down. And in real life, have you ever seen that happen?